Could No Man's Sky be the best space game ever released? Well, it's certainly successful enough, and there's certainly enough positive reviews out there. But popularity doesn't mean quality. In this video series then, I explore potential candidates for the best space game ever made. The question, does No Man's Sky qualify? Well, it certainly has a very dedicated development team, and as of this recording has 20 updates, each of them delivering significant new features and brand new content. Before I talk about updates though, I want to look at the most important aspect of a space game, at least for me, and that is its game world. The universe of No Man's Sky then is the largest of any space game, and perhaps more important than that, it's instantly recognizable. Its aesthetics are very clearly inspired by 70s sci-fi art, quickly reminded me of my favourite artists Tim White and Tony Roberts. This style of visuals then delivers a world of unbridled imagination, and a world in which it feels anything and perhaps everything is possible. It means No Man's Sky truly stands out in stark contrast to other titles in the space game genre. Where other titles pin everything on gritty realism, No Man's Sky instead opts for imagination and infinite possibilities. For me, this is something that works very, very well, and it means No Man's Sky really does stand out. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that the artistic style here is a great reflection of No Man's Sky's character, but regardless of its visuals, no game can stand alone on its graphics. It's true to say then that many games live or die depending on the strength of their gameplay, and when it comes to gameplay, No Man's Sky can be divided into two distinct camps. The original core gameplay, which has been there right since day one, and the brand new gameplay which comes with the title's frequent updates. The original core gameplay then is arguably the game's weakest aspect. For example, the prolonged collection of resources can very quickly become shallow and tedious. And unfortunately, major aspects of the game are heavily dependent upon this resource collection. Whether you want fuel for your ships, power and protection for your suits, or materials for building, you're going to need to return to resource collection again and again. And this, for me at least, becomes extremely repetitive very, very quickly. However, the gameplay is saved by the regular updates, whether it's the exploration missions of the Expeditions update, the new equipments of Sentinels, the bustling outposts of Frontiers, or even the new pirate-focused gameplay of Outlaws. Now this is just content from the 4 most recent updates, of which there has been a total of 20. This then leads me on to another fundamental aspect of what it means to be a good space game: updates. How many does the game receive, and are they of significant note? Well, Hello Games and No Man's Sky are probably the best example out there of how to deliver updates to a great space game. The developers regularly deliver new content here, and it's nearly always of an exceptional quality. The pace at which these updates are rolled out is seriously impressive, and it's extremely rare for the developers to disappoint the No Man's Sky community. And this passion from Hello Games is perhaps more than anything else where the game truly shines. Another area the game shines is its procedural generation. With a galaxy and a game world as large as the one that you've got in No Man's Sky with literally quintillions of different planets, well, you really need to rely on procedural generation to do all the heavy lifting to deliver that amount of content. As I mentioned earlier on, the aesthetics, the artistic style behind the game is very, very appealing, at least to me. And this, to some extent at least, does extend into the procedural generation of both the flora and fauna you see around the game, but specifically the ships. Ship design then is another very, very important aspect of any space game. This is an area where No Man's Sky simultaneously hits and misses. Some of the ship designs are very, very nice. Specifically the ones, well, for me personally, these ones are very reminiscent of Star Wars' X-Wing as well as Battlestar Galactica's Vipers. But some of the other designs are very much a miss, so I guess at the end of the day here it comes down to personal tastes. And fortunately there's enough variation within No Man's Sky to deliver on many different tastes. So the game certainly has it when it comes to ship design. But what about flight mechanics? Well, this is certainly an important aspect for any space game. Flight models are vital. Unfortunately, No Man's Sky has, well, a bit of a problem here. The flight model is very, very basic and extremely arcadey. However, it does tick all the boxes, at least on a basic level. It has suitable flights, it has momentum there, as well as fairly decent combat. It will be enough for casual space simmers, but the flight model here will be nowhere near enough for hardcore space simmers. And that is perhaps how No Man's Sky could best be summed up. It's very easily among the best space games ever created if you are a casual space simmer. On the other hand, if you're into the hardcore space games from the 80s and 90s, then you may be looking for a bit more. To sum up then, where does No Man's Sky stand with the 5 key components of a quality space game? Well, it has a great game world that is massive in scope and is also aesthetically pleasing. The core gameplay meanwhile has a lot of variety. Whether you like to explore, whether you like to build or trade or just get into fights, there's a lot of options. But all of this is heavily dependent on resource collecting, and that becomes fairly shallow and very repetitive extremely quickly. If you're the type of player that likes to roam and explore, there's going to be plenty here for you. But the game is saved by the regular updates that deliver frequent new impressive content. Ship designs are in a bit of a weird place. Some of them are very nice, others are a bit on the weird side, but that is a result of procedural generation, meaning there's always a huge amount of variety. Finally, if there was one thing I would really love to see Hello Games improve, it would be the flight model. I'd love to see an option added to the game to enable more impressive and more detailed flight mechanics. Something for the future maybe. So then, No Man's Sky may not be perfect, but it is very, very good, and it's easily a candidate for one of the best space games ever made. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.